let's set the agenda for today first, then we'll move on to the topics. Firstly, we'll discuss what is Agile methodology. As most of the projects, okay, they try to execute in the current IT industry. Most of the projects they'll be running on Agile methodology. So it would be very, very advantageous to understand what is Agile methodology and what are the advantages of it and disadvantages of it. After that, we'll understand what is Scrum and how a Scrum team looks like and what are their responsibilities. See, obviously Scrum will have different team members, right? With different responsibilities. We should understand like what is the role and responsibilities of each team member. And then there are certain terminologies used in Scrum. Okay, we should see the terminologies also. Okay, after that, we may go to the next topic. Okay, firstly, what is Agile methodology? Okay, see, very simple. It is an approach for project management. Okay, it is an approach for project management. For example, there is an integration project or some other software development project. We need to manage that project, right? Whenever they need to manage, there should be a proper approach. If there is a proper approach, it would be very easier to manage that project. Okay, Agile methodology is nothing but a approach is to manage a project very, very effectively. Okay, but there are certain things which we need to understand. What is that? It is an iterative. See here, it is an iterative, incremental, flexible approach to project management and software development. What is this iterative? What is this incremental? What is this flexible? Normally, for example, we have a you wanted to deliver one product. For example, like you wanted to deliver one product. That product is mobile application. Maybe some e-commerce mobile application. Now for this, we require some backend APIs, right? Obviously front-end will be there. Okay, we require front-end development and back-end development. Now consider we are Mulesoft related employees. Obviously consider backend. We need some APIs for communication. Okay. Now what happens is, if you wanted to develop the entire features of mobile application, okay, and then release the product at once or release the mobile application at once, it would be very difficult because it may take long time to develop. Rather than that, if I start doing some features, important features, and release that, and slowly add some extra features every now and then, that would be great, right? So this Agile methodology will tell or will insist, okay, on this approach. What they will tell, for example, like there are some 15 to 20 features which required for this particular application. Now, this Agile will tell, first, take the all important features to execute the or to run the mobile application of that particular e-commerce organization. For example, like think like you need, if you have that 8 features, then it is a complete mobile application and you can run it. Now, in the first step, what it will try to do, they will release that 8 features. They will develop those 8. They will design those 8 features and then develop it, then test it, and then release into the market. But initially in the before this Agile methodology, right, they used to develop all 20 features and then only release it. Okay, it will take long time. For example, like maybe 2 years or 1.5 years or 3 years. But here Now, initially 8 features, right? They thought like it can be delivered in 5 to 6 months. Okay. In again, this 5 to 6 months, what they'll try to try to break the tasks for each month, what they can deliver and all. That way they will try to do. That's why what they'll try to do now, 8 features, design, develop, test and deliver. These 4 steps have been completed. Again, for the next features, maybe in the next sprint or next cycle, they wanted to release another 4 features. Okay, again, they will start design, develop, test and deliver. Okay. So it looks like iterative approach, right? It is iterative. Iterative means what? Looping kind of thing. Okay. We'll start one thing, we'll finish off that, and again take some other activities, finish off this from first step to the 4th step, and slowly we are trying to add the features to the mobile application. By the time within 1.5 to 2 years, you will add all the features. Later on, if any other new features required, again you will do that. That's why we call it as iterative approach. Also, it is called as incremental approach. Why? Slowly you're adding features. You are not waiting for the total product to be completed and then deliver it to the market. But here we are trying slowly developing and releasing features step by step. That's also called as incremental. And it is flexible also. It tells to be flexible. For example, like in the before Agile methodology, there used to be a waterfall methodology. What is waterfall methodology? The business team will try to get the requirements, all the requirements from the business team. And once the requirements are clear, they will lock. They will not accept any new changes. Exactly. Okay. They will lock the requirements and then they start developing. And if the client business team comes to change the requirements also, they will not accept. But here in Agile methodology, it says be flexible. For example, like in the first release, we wanted 8 features and we have decided what are all the features required. But at the in the last maybe 15-20 days of time, if they have the authority of removing one feature from in it and then add another new feature. For example, like out of 15-20, add a new feature. And there is a possibility of delivering it. Obviously, we can do that. That way, it should be flexible. So now, what is Agile methodology? Agile methodology is an iterative, incremental, and flexible approach to project management. It is a general concept. It is not related to only Mulesoft projects. It's a general concept. And it is widely used across the market in the IT industry. You can take integration project, you can take testing project, you can take some other software development project, whatever the project is exactly, like you can take it and you can follow the Agile methodology and then you can do it. I just told you, right? What happens in Agile methodology? Instead of planning the entire project upfront, Agile will break the project into smaller manageable parts. I told you, right? The entire project is of 20 features. But what are we trying to do? We're trying to break it into some smaller manageable parts like features, right? And out of that, I wanted to release first 8 features in the first release exactly. Okay, those are called iterations or sprints. Agile will break into smaller manageable parts called iterations or sprints. For example, now we have got 6 months to deliver this first 8 features. I'll take the example and tell you these 8 features. I will come to our only API one. Now for this 8 features, we require some 50 APIs to be developed. Now we have around 5 Mulesoft developers. Okay. And what happens now? You have the 5 developers are there and 50 APIs need to be delivered in 6 months. Exactly. This is the thing. Now, what they'll try to do, they means what? Who? Our team lead or the product owner or the manager who is trying to manage the project will break these and properly they will fit it exactly like, okay, first what needs to be developed, what needs to be delivered. Delivered means what exactly, like okay, these APIs are available for consumption. That way we need to check. Now what is happening? Agile breaks it into smaller manageable parts called iterations or sprints. Normally, if you understand the agile methodology, or if you have listened to your maybe brothers or the sisters or some other spouse projects exactly, they'll be calling it as sprint or iteration exactly. What is this sprint? We'll discuss in a couple of minutes. What is sprint? What is how a sprint will be formed and all we'll discuss. Now, this 50 APIs needs to be delivered in 6 months. Based on that, they will try to break that into manageable parts and then they will deliver. Okay, the total team will deliver. Okay, that is the process. Now, what are agile principles? The client doesn't need to wait for a long time, because in the first waterfall model, I told you they'll decide the entire project and they will deliver the entire project. He will wait for the 1.5 to 2 years and then you'll see the product. But here in agile methodology, whenever the feature is ready, you can show it to or display it to client and then get the feedback from him exactly. That way, the client will not be able to wait for a long time here. Okay. Develop, test, and release a piece of software to the client with a few number of features. Just now I told you, right? These are all the principles which needs to be followed. Accommodate requirement changes in between. If there is any changes, you need to be flexible enough to incorporate those changes exactly. Okay, this way, what happens? This will help us to establish, or you need to establish proper communication between client, product owner, developers, and testers. Generally, a team will consist of client, developers, testers, all will compose a team, right? Obviously, okay. There should be a proper communication. Then only you will have a better product release. Now, what are the advantages of Agile? Okay, requirement changes are allowed at any stage of development because you have a very good communication, right? Regular communication is happening. Because of that reason, at any point of time, you can accommodate the new changes and product releases will be faster. How product releases will be faster? We are trying to go feature by feature, right? It's not like all features are ready and then we wanted to deliver the product. We are going by feature, so product release will be faster. The client doesn't need to wait for a long time. Obviously, we discussed that. There is a good communication between client, product owner, developer, and testers. Obviously, it will help us to be flexible and deliver the product in the right manner. Okay, and it is an easy model to adopt. It's not very difficult. It's very easy to adopt also, to understand and adopt. What are disadvantages exactly? Because we wanted to deliver small pieces very faster, you may have a less focus on designing and documentation aspect. Exactly. Okay, this is one of the disadvantages. In any system or any approach, obviously there will be advantages and disadvantages. But advantages are more in number, and obviously that will help us to effectively manage the project. Now, what is the other term you frequently listen is Scrum. Okay, Scrum in Agile methodology. What is Scrum? Scrum is a specific framework within the Agile methodology through which we build software products by following the Agile principles. Okay, see, you should know how to, we are telling you have to do this, but still how to do that? You require some framework, right? That's called Scrum. Agile methodology, you are telling this is the way you have to do. Now, how you should do will be defined in the Scrum framework. Scrum is a specific framework which will help the teams to deliver software products. Exactly. Scrum includes a group of people called Scrum team. Okay, obviously there'll be a group of people to execute the project, right? And if they follow the Scrum approach, they're called as Scrum team. Okay, normally Scrum team sizes from 5 to 9 people, and it will consist of different people, maybe testers, developers, product owners, business analysts. Okay, this way it will be composed of different team members. And what is the composition of a Scrum team? What is this composition of a Scrum team? How a Scrum team looks like. For example, we have product owner, Scrum master, and we have developers, and then we have testers. This is the composition of a Scrum team. Scrum team will consist of all these people. But what is the responsibility of product owner? He is the person who collects the requirement and then document it properly. And whenever there is a user testing required, he will be participating in that user testing. Okay. Okay, product owner will explain the requirements of the client, and then he also documents it exactly. It will be of, we can call him as product owner or business analyst also. Okay, business analyst also. If it is a very big project, we'll have more number of business analysts or product owners, but most of the time we'll have one. Now, Scrum Master. Who is Scrum Master? He will facilitate the Scrum process and helps the team to be more effective. So he is the person who drives the Scrum calls actually, but he is not part of the project. He just runs the show. He doesn't know what is happening, or what are the technical difficulties, and what are the technical challenges. He will make everyone to come to a common platform and discuss all these things. He is the person who runs the calls and who facilitates the calls. If there is something required, you can reach out to him and then arrange a meeting. You can go there, you can discuss that, and again come. Okay, Scrum Master facilitates the Scrum process and helps the team to be more effective. That's it, exactly. He's not related to the project technically or functionally. Now, we have development team. Again, development team will have maybe architect, developers, technical lead. Okay, all these people can be part of the development team, exactly. Okay. Now, the group of professionals responsible for developing and delivering the product. Okay. Now, for an integration project, Mulesoft developers will be available. Okay. And then QA team, the group of professionals responsible for testing the product. Once we develop the project, okay, obviously, or develop API, someone has to test it, right? Who takes care of it? QA team. Okay. Now, this is the composition of a Scrum team. We need a product owner, Scrum Master, development team, and QA team. These are all part of a Scrum team. Sometimes you have here and there, that is fine, exactly. You don't have a separate Scrum Master. Your team lead itself will run the call. That may be possible. And sometimes Scrum Master, right? He will handle multiple projects. As he is not involved in technically, for example, there are 3 projects running. P1, P2, project 3. Okay. This is, for example, like front-end team. This is back-end team. This is a back-end team means maybe API related team, our team, Mulesoft related. This is another one, operations team, for example. Okay. Now, the Scrum Master will make sure all the 3 project related meetings and all happen on time properly, and there is established proper communication, and whether the project is going as per the expectation or not. Okay, all he will be monitoring it. Okay, for example, if there is no this kind of thing, even our team lead can be a Scrum Master and he can run the show also for our project, exactly. Okay, it depends on the organization to organization. Now, what are the responsibilities of it? product owner. He will define the features of product. But he will prioritize the features according to market value and which feature should go first, which feature can be delayed. All those details can be finalized by product owner. And again, adjust features and prioritize every iteration as needed. I told you we will break the entire features into some smaller features and then we'll try to deliver them, right? That way he will try to prioritize the things, when to deliver what, and approve or reject the final work. For example, like once, see, he told a feature, we developed it, he will check that, and if it is proper, then only he will accept it. Otherwise, he will accept or he'll approve it. Otherwise, he will reject it. He's the person who will finalize the work, basically. There are different terminologies used in Scrum. What are the different terminologies? We have user story, epic, product backlog, sprint, or iteration. What is user story? Okay. As soon as when it comes to integration projects, right? For example, like I have to develop a system API, for example. Okay. Now this system API development, design, development, and deployment will be created as a user story. Okay, will be created as a user story, and it will be assigned to me. Okay, it will be assigned to me. What does it mean? Now I am responsible for designing that particular system API, implementation of that, testing of it what? Unit testing, whichever is applicable to developer, and then deploy it to development and QA environment. Okay, that entire task can be called as a user story. Okay, nothing but user story is nothing but a item which a task which needs to be delivered in a specific time frame. In a specific time frame, exactly. Now, what is epic? Collection of user stories at a category level. For example, this is called integration. In integration, I need 5 APIs to be delivered in this particular sprint. Okay, 5 APIs. 2, 3, 4, 5. For each API, one user story is created. Okay. But I told you 50 APIs, right? 50 APIs for the entire integration project. Okay. But for this particular sprint, it is 5. But total 50 are there. Okay. All these 50 user stories as a collection, it is known as epic. Why? All will fall under integration category. Okay. Collection of user stories at a category level is known as epic, exactly. Now, product backlog. What does it mean? It contains the list of all user stories prepared by the product owner. Now, product owner have decided, okay, 50 APIs are there. He will try to create some 50 user stories and he will keep them in product backlog. Okay, all 50 stories will be in product backlog. Now, 50 APIs can be delivered at the same point of time. Obviously not possible, right? We'll be picking those based on the importance specified by product owner. Okay, and then we'll deliver it one by one, or some APIs by APIs, some APIs by some APIs, exactly. Okay. Normally, we have another term called sprint or iteration. Mostly they call it a sprint. What is the sprint? A period to complete user stories decided by the product owner and team, exactly. Normally, most of the organizations will have a sprint time frame of 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Mostly they follow 2-week sprint time frame, exactly. Now, for example, you have product backlog of 50 user stories. This is product backlog. Okay, 50 user stories are there. Now, product owner has decided this 50 has to be delivered in, for example, like 10 sprints. Now, first sprint will happen second, third, fourth, fifth, like this, right? For example, like this is the first sprint. What they will try to do? First sprint, 5 APIs. Each sprint is 2 weeks. Now, there are 5 developers. It is given to 1 API to 1 developer. That way, 5 developers will have 5 APIs. Within these 2 weeks, they need to complete what are all? Design, development, unit testing, and deployment to development and QA environments. 2 weeks means what? Monday to Friday, and they will consider 8 hours per day. Okay, if it is a bigger task, they will give you more time frame. That is fine. Now you understood, right? See, there is a product backlog which consists of all the tasks for that particular project. And from product backlog, we will try to pick up the user stories based on the priority set by product owner or business analyst, exactly. Now, we need to deliver within the time frame. If it is getting delayed or if it is not possible to deliver that particular user story in the specified time frame, it is your responsibility to inform the team upfront and get the more time. Okay, now I told for the first sprint, we picked 5 APIs, right? On the first day of the sprint, say I told you 2 weeks exactly. Okay, on the first day of sprint, a meeting will be started, and they will discuss, okay, which API is assigned to which person and what is the requirement and what is the expectation. Everything will be discussed in the sprint planning meeting. Before a sprint starts, a sprint planning meeting will happen, and they will tell what is expected, what needs to be finished, and all those discussions will happen in the sprint meeting. I told 10 sprints. Obviously, for each and every sprint, before starting, you'll have that sprint planning meeting. Exactly. Means, what is this exactly? In this particular sprint, what are you going to work on and what needs to be delivered? What is the expectation? All will be discussed. And now, sprint backlog. What is the sprint backlog? Again, sprint backlog is a collection of user stories. Okay. Collection of user stories committed by the team to deliver in a specified sprint. Now, this is known as sprint backlog. For example, I told 50 APIs, 50 user stories. Okay, this is known as product backlog. Now, first sprint is there. As a team, we told we'll 5 APIs and there are 5 user stories. This is known as sprint backlog. In this first sprint, the team decided to go for development of 5 APIs and then finish off them. This is known as sprint backlog. Okay, and one more thing. Scrum meeting. It is a meeting conducted by Scrum Master every day, maybe for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, to understand the status of the task assigned to us exactly. For example, if there are any blockers, we should let them know. There may be a dependency of task from other teams, or within the team we have a dependency. All those needs to be discussed very, very openly in the Scrum meeting. They may call it as also daily stand-up meeting. Okay, daily stand-up meeting, Scrum call or stand-up meeting, whatever the project team calls. These are the terminologies they use generally. Here they'll ask for the status. Okay, what did you do today? Okay, or what did you do yesterday? And what are you going to do today? And do you have any blockers at this point of time? Blockers means what? Any hindrances which will not make your work to go ahead, which will not make you to go ahead with the work exactly. Sprint retrospective meeting. What is this exactly? For example, now 5 users, 5 developers are given the tasks exactly. Okay, developer one user to develop this. Now, after 2 weeks, the sprint is over, right? Once the sprint is over, they will check whether we are able to achieve the desired result or not. If not delivered, they will check what is the reason, what is the problem. For example, out of 5 user stories, everything is finished, but developer 5 haven't delivered it exactly. Because there is a dependency on the other team. Unless they do it, we are not able to deliver that. Now they will move this task to the next sprint. Okay, and it should be, you should be able to strongly command that exactly, or you need to present before them. They may ask you like, why can't you inform it earlier? Exactly. Okay, if you have informed, that's fine. If you haven't informed, obviously there may be a problem. For that reason, obviously every day a daily stand-up meeting is there. You need to express all your thoughts there and then get the work done. If it is not delivered, you should have a strong point to encounter. Exactly. Okay, what is the expectation? Whether whether it is delivered or not. If it is not delivered, why it is not delivered? All those things will be discussed in the sprint retrospective meeting. And it is usually conducted after the sprint is completed. Sprint is a time frame, right? Maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks based on the organization. Now, story point. What is the story point? It is a rough time estimation given by development or QA team for completing a user story. For example, this is user story 1 is given to developer 1. Okay. Now, story point is that rough time estimation. Means, for example, like for completing the story, maybe I require some 60 or 70 hours. For example, like take it as 70 hours approximately. Okay. Sometimes story point can be 1 hour to 1 hour is equivalent to in some projects 1 hour is equivalent to 1 point story point. And in some projects, right, they call 8 hours. 1 day is known as 1 point. Okay, depends on the project exactly. Okay, story points. Story points is the rough time estimation given by development or QA team for completing a user story. For example, like 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks means 40 plus 40, 80 hours. Okay, you need to do almost like 80 hours of work, right? Okay, if it is 1 story point per day, how many? 8 days, 8 story points for this particular task exactly. Okay, approximately you need to give it in the right manner, and it is decided by the team. Scrum Master, product owner, all those people will sit and discuss exactly. And burn down chart. A chart maintained by Scrum Master daily, which specifies the work remaining in the sprint. Okay, he'll check every day. See, obviously, user story will have some subtasks also, right? For example, like I told, a system API should be delivered to Dev1 QA environment. But what are all the subtasks I can create? I can create design, okay, then implementation, then unit testing, then deploy. 4 subtasks are created. Whenever the subtask is completed, for example, like design subtask is completed, you can do completed. Second task completed. That way they can progress. Actually, they can monitor also. Exactly. Okay. The Scrum Master will maintain a chart which will help them to check it daily, and it can give you the work remaining in the sprint. Exactly. Okay. This is also one of the important terminologies. Exactly. Now, I told you Scrum, right? Scrum is a framework how you have to implement your specific project. Exactly. Okay. Time to how to implement your specific project in the efficient manner to manage this specific project. But I told you, see, obviously, as part of your Scrum, you'll have a Scrum board. Okay. Scrum board, all the stories. For example, like I told you, 5 stories for that particular sprint are there. 5 stories will be here. Okay. Initially. Okay. 5 stories are there. And 5 people, 5 developers will try to change the status of that particular story once they decided everything required for that particular for implementing that particular story. All the information is available. Then he will change it to do status, right? Okay. Initially it will be in to do status, and then once everything information is available, he'll convert into in progress status. Okay. In progress status. Once it is completed, once it is tested, pushed into testing, it will be testing, and then once it is completed, done status. Means just changing the status from one stage to another stage, we need to take care of. Exactly. And all will be visible in a Scrum board. Scrum Master will open the Scrum board and he will see what are the tasks available in to do status, the tasks available in progress status, and in the tasks available in testing status. And Scrum Master can decide like what are the stages he requires to do, most probably to do, in progress, and done. These are the 3 stages it will be there. And to do means it needs to be still started. Nobody has started it. In progress means it is started and it is in progress. Done means it is completed. Okay, that way he can see, for example, like there are 5 stories which needs to be delivered in this sprint. Okay, out of 5 stories, how many stories are to do status, how many stories are in progress status, and how many stories are in completed status. This way, he can check the entire details in the Scrum board. Exactly. And even in the Scrum meeting, he'll be sharing the screen and he'll ask one by one, right, the status at that point of time. Even we can see like how many tasks are in which status exactly. Okay, now we will see in a visual representation, Scrum framework at a glance. What is this exactly? First of all, the product owner will take all the requirements. Okay, product owner will take all the requirements from the users team, and then he will list out all the tasks. He will create a backlog, product backlog with all the user stories. Exactly. Product backlog will consist of all the user stories, right, of that particular project. Then sprint planning meeting will happen. Okay. And plans how much work to commit for the sprint. And then they will take some tasks from the product backlog. Okay. Sprint planning meeting will be conducted and the whole team will participate in that sprint planning meeting. And then along with the product owner, everyone discusses, okay, these are the user stories. You need to pick it for this particular sprint. Then the sprint backlog is ready. For this particular sprint, we need to execute these 5 tasks. For example, like there are 8 tasks actually, and we picked only 5 for this sprint, and those 5 a task should be completed in this particular sprint. Now, to execute these 5 tasks, right? What is the time frame? Maybe 2 to 4 weeks. It depends on the organization exactly. Most of the time, whatever I have seen, it is 2 weeks exactly. And most of the time, you should not change the scope of the work which needs to be delivered within that 2 weeks of time. And every 24 hours, I told you, you have a Scrum meeting, right? That will be happening. For example, a person has delivered the user story within 1 week, and they will make to bring another user story from the product backlog to this current sprint, and he can start working on it exactly. Okay. This way, they'll be executed and automatically the product or the features will be delivered. Okay. They will again conduct a retrospective meeting also, right? What is delivered, what is not delivered, why is it not delivered? All those discussions will happen in the retrospective meeting. Exactly. This way, the total Scrum framework will work. Yeah. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. To implement the project in Agile methodology, we need some tool to execute that. Okay. Okay. We have seen like what is Agile methodology and how Scrum will help us to execute the project management efficiently. Now, to do that, we require a tool. Okay. There are so many tools in the market, but Jira is the widely used one. Okay. Jira is a project management tool which will help us to manage or manage the project very, very efficiently through Scrum and different frameworks. But we try to follow Scrum framework exactly. Okay. Now we'll see like what is Jira, how to create a Jira account, how to create a project in Jira, and how to create a sprint, how to create a story in Jira, manage a story. All these things will be discussed. Now, what is Jira? Jira is a project management tool. See, Jira is a powerful project management and issue tracking tool. Only it is not only used for only project management. You can track the issues. So issues means what? If there is some issue, okay. If there is some issue if there is a bug, all those can be tracked exactly with the help of Jira. And it is widely used in the software development and various industries. It was developed by Atlassian and it is designed to help teams plan, track, and manage their work efficiently. It is at broad level, it is a project management tool. Okay, it can be used for different purposes. Okay, we can plan, track, and manage the work efficiently with the help of Jira. Now, what are the functionalities of Jira? Just now we discussed like we can track issues. What is that? Whenever, for example, like a testing team is testing some features, they got some bugs. They can raise those bugs in the Jira tool and it can be assigned to the developer, whoever has developed that. Now, what developer will do? Developer will check those bugs. Okay, and then he will rework on the bugs raised by the testing team, and then he can make it completed. And again, the testing team will take care of the retesting. Okay, Jira provides a central platform to track tasks, bugs, and other issues throughout the development or project lifecycle. Then it can be used for project management also. What is that? Project planning, task assignment, and progress monitoring, how it is progressing and all. Everything can be monitored with the help of Jira. We can create customizable workflows. What is this customizable workflows? For example, like I told you, to do in progress and completed. Done. There are 3 stages. If I wanted more number of stages also, I can create and do that. It will help you to tailor workflows to match your team specific process. For example, like you wanted 5 stages to create for your project. You can do that. And what is the other feature? Collaboration. It will help us to collaborate with all the team members because it provides a single platform. It provides a single platform, centralized platform, where all the communication can happen. Okay, where all the communication can happen related to all the stories exactly. Stories or the bugs and all. For example, like tester, just now we discussed about bugs, right? Tester has raised a bug, and developer can go to Jira and he can check it. For example, like on that particular bug, there are 3 developers working. All 3 developers go to that bug and they can check it on Jira. That way, your collaboration is efficiently managed. Exactly. Okay. What are the boards and dashboards available in Jira? You have both Scrum and Kanban boards available in Jira to check and monitor the work exactly. But mostly we follow Scrum. Mostly we follow Scrum. And dashboards also can be created to check the or to track the team progress and check what is that. If you want to set some key performance indicators, you can check. But all these things will be part of Scrum Master task exactly. They will take care of. And integration capabilities of Jira. Why do you want to integrate Jira? Okay, see here. Jira seamlessly integrates with numerous third-party tools and plugins. And integration with development tools like Bitbucket, GitHub, and Confluence. Okay. Enhances the overall development workflow. For example, now I just told you there is a user story created for development of one system API. Okay. Obviously, one number will be generated here. Okay. For this user story, one number will be generated. Okay. Now, if you click on this, if, for example, like your code repository is GitHub. And this is Jira, right? Jira and GitHub are already integrated. Now, if you click on this number, you can create a branch in GitHub for this particular user story. Okay, for this particular user story, as they are integrated, and then you can create a branch for that particular system API and then do the task. It means that these both are integrated, and then once it is finished, you can update this exactly. Okay, that way, if they have the integration, it will be really helpful. Okay, now I'll go to you can use the work email or Google or some other Slack account, Apple or Microsoft account exactly. Okay. Now, please Google. It will ask you to select the email. Agree and start now. I might have already used it exactly. Okay, what kind of work you do exactly, like, okay, maybe there are different things, and then we'll try to use it for software development. Continue. Select a template to get started. Project management, business collaboration, and all. See Scrum. Plan, prioritize, and schedule sprints using Scrum framework. We wanted to go with Scrum framework. See, in real time, right? You're not going to create all these things exactly, because as soon as you are assigned to a project, they will create one email ID and password. Okay. With the help of one email ID and password, what happens? You will be given access to Teams, email, okay, Microsoft Teams or Slack, whatever is the communication channel. Okay, then email, okay, Anypoint platform account, okay, and then Jira, Bitbucket or GitHub, or maybe if other systems are required, all those systems. For example, if you're not able to access, then what you should do? You should go to, there is a ticketing tool called ServiceNow. Most of the organizations, they will try to use ServiceNow as the ticketing tool. What you should do, you should go there and raise a ticket. If you raise a ticket saying that I don't have access to Bitbucket or GitHub, then the respective team will receive the ticket, and then they will check, okay, this is a new team member, and he needs the access. If they require some approvals and all, you need to provide those approvals. Then automatically they will try to complete the needful for that particular ticket, and then they will close the ticket once it is solved. Exactly. But we don't have any such kind of ecosystem here. We are trying to create the Jira account and then do it. But automatically, when you go inside the team, right, you can ask your colleagues for a Jira logging, what to say, URL, and then you can log into that and see whether you're able to access the Jira account or not. If you're not able to access the Jira account, you need to raise a ticket and then go ahead. Exactly. Now, see here. It's asking for to create a new project. Exactly. Okay. What kind of project exactly? See here, it is Scrum project only, right? I want to create a project for transaction management. Okay, I'm telling I'm already familiar with Scrum. If you're not, if you says that I'm not familiar, it will show you the guiding path. Do this, that way exactly. Like, but I don't want to do that. I wanted to go ahead. Now, if you go and see here, you have a project called transaction management. Now, there are some tabs here. I'll just walk you through those tabs exactly. See here, you have your work. Whenever you get the URL and then you log into Jira project management tool, if you see here, if you click on here, your work, see, assigned to me. What if there are some tasks assigned to you? You can see those tasks in the assigned to me section. Okay. For example, like if you have visited some user stories or tickets or bugs, whatever it is, all those recent items will be here. Just now you visited this transaction management project, right? You can see it here. And any boards? Yeah, we have a Scrum board for transaction management, and here you can see it. See the board. Anything is available here? To do, in progress, done. There is nothing, right? Obviously, at this point of time. And you are not the, see, now I have the admin access because I have created the accounts. So I have that. But in your organization, maybe you will have a restricted access and you will not be able to see all the options available here. But as a developer, whatever is required, we need to know that. We'll see that. Now, see here. If you see the projects, what are the projects available? Only one project is created. Transaction management project is available. And then I don't think something is here. And here you can create dashboards to check the progress, but it is whose job to check the progress and all? Scrum Master and product owner. They will have the proper access. And teams, for example, like if they wanted to add one new team member or create a team and all, they can do those activities in this particular section. But as a developer, you will not be able to do all these things. You don't have the access for this. Planning also, they'll take care of. And I told you, right? If you wanted to integrate maybe GitHub or different tools, exactly, you can do it here. Okay, that will be taken care by the Scrum Master and product owner. It is not your job to take care of. And then what is our job in Jira? I'll tell you. See, now you are in the transaction management project. Okay, and do you have any backlog items? Product for transaction management, how many APIs are required? In for example, like in our transaction management, we had 2 experience APIs, 1 process API, and 1 system API. Now I'll go to backlog, or I can click on this create. Okay. New story, and I'm selecting story only and not a bug or something else. Summary of the work. See, you can provide the detailed description of that, fine, exactly. But here I'm not giving. I'm creating user story for mobile transaction experience API. And to whom I have to assign. Exactly. We need to assign. For example, like if you have multiple team members, you can see multiple team members there, and you can assign to the respective person. To whom you have to report, that also can be selected. Now see here. In the backlog, product backlog, you have 1 user story. The same way I wanted to create 5 user stories. Why? For each API, I'll do that. Web transaction experience API. And if required, see, you can, if there is some documents required, you can attach those documents here. Okay. For example, like I'll attach or the functional specification document here. Now, to whoever we assign this task, right, they can go through the documentation and then they can do that. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create the user story. Okay. In user story, you can have different statuses exactly, and summary of the user story and description of the story. Description, they'll write it in detail. Okay, what all the things needs to be performed generally. And then to whom it should be assigned. Labels. If you wanted to search easily, you can give some label also. And to which sprint, we haven't assigned this to any sprint at this point of time. Okay. And how many hours it is required, maybe how many story points it should be allocated. And then who is the monitor for this particular, any documents. And for example, like if there is a dependency, okay, for example, like for experience API, you require process API and system API, right? Those also can be mentioned. Okay, depends on the requirement. Now another one is created. Now what I'll try to do, I'll try to create for process API. And again, for system API. Even I can attach documents here, obviously. For all the same document, because it is only one. If you have different documents, you can upload those documents. Now this way, what product owner and scrum master will do, they will create all the stories related to this particular project, transaction management project. For example, like there are 10 or 15 APIs which needs to be developed for the entire transaction management project. What they'll try to do, they will try to create those user stories and keep it in the backlog. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Now the sprint is going to start. Okay, in this sprint, the sprint planning meeting will happen, and they decided to go for some 3 APIs out of it. Okay, for example, like you have 5 APIs at this point of time. Out of these 5 APIs, okay, sorry, 4 APIs are there. In the first sprint, they want to go for 2 APIs. Okay, because only 1 developer or 2 developers are there. That way, we try to think, and then we'll see like only 2 APIs have to be delivered. Maybe the system API and the process API. Now, what happens exactly? We need to create the sprint also, right? From which date the sprint will start, and to from which date it will start, and at which date it will end exactly. We need to check that, and we need to create a sprint. How to create a sprint? Okay, you have here option C, create sprint. I'll create a sprint. Okay, and already it is given the sprint 1, right? Sprint 2 is there, but I'll delete the sprint initially. I'll use the sprint 1 only. Now, if I wanted to change the name, I can change exactly. What I can do, I can use transaction management sprint 1, for example, TM sprint 1. And what is the duration? For example, like I told 2 weeks of time, right? Okay, 2 weeks. But when it will start? When your sprint will start? For example, maybe on what is the day today? Sunday, right? From tomorrow, for example, 22nd. And when it will end? Midnight 12. Okay, and when it will end? See, August 5th, exactly. What is the sprint goal for this sprint? Complete transaction system and process APIs and deploy to dev and QA environment. Update. Now see here. Okay, tomorrow it is going to start, and sprint planning meeting happened, and we decided to move transaction system API and process API to sprint. Okay, if you want to edit, you can go and edit exactly. At this point of time, we don't want. Now, see here, you have some stories in the backlog, right? What you can do? Which one? Transaction system API, right? We need to move it to see here, TM sprint 1. Because we discussed in the sprint planning meeting, and as part of sprint planning meeting, we decided to do two APIs, system API and process API. That's why I'm trying to move it. Okay, as part of the first sprint, these two user stories needs to be completed. Now, for example, like we started the work. Okay, before starting the work, what we should do? For example, like it is assigned to me, right? If it is assigned to me, now what I'll try to do, I'll go here. Okay, I'll see here assignee. I'll tell assign to me. Okay, and then now I am allocated to this particular task. What I'll try to do, if I go to here and assign to me, if I check assign to me, see here to do transaction system API. Now I can check this issue and I can check, okay, whether any documentation is available for this. Yeah, I can see the documentation. See the documentation. I can go through this documentation. I can see the description. I can see the summary of the user story. See, normally I didn't write much information here. In real time, right? They will try to give as much as information as possible and attach all the documents required for that exactly. And if you have any questions, you can write a comment here. For example, like if there is any team member, you can here at this point of time, I'm only the team member. If there is some other team member, you can put at the rate and mention them. Please provide the documentation needed to start this system API. For example, like they haven't provided, you can write a comment. Now, an email will be triggered to that particular user and he will check and he will try to upload the documents to this particular user story. Okay, that way you need to add comments. For example, like you finished some task, you can write the comments like I have completed design part. I have completed implementation part. I'm doing unit testing. That way you can add the comments also in this particular section. And apart from this, once you start working on this particular ticket, you need to change this from to do to in progress. To do to in progress. What does it mean now? If you go here, okay, maybe what happened is, okay, we didn't start the sprint, right? After creating the sprint, you need to start the sprint also. Okay, we have given the date, end date was there. Now, if you go to the board, see all the tickets are available as part of that sprint. Now, I changed the system API status to progress, right? You can see it here in progress. And the process API is still a to-do list only at this point of time. This way, they can check the board and how many tasks are in or how many user stories are in to-do status, how many are in progress, how many are done. All this can be checked from the Scrum board exactly. As we are using the Scrum methodology to execute the management of this particular project. Now, I'll go to in progress is there. Now I'll go to this particular transaction system API. I changed it. Okay. It's not required. There are certain other things also you need to check. What are those exactly? I'll tell you. See, story point estimate. What is the story point estimate? I told you, right? Maybe 1 hour is equivalent to one story point in some organization. Now you should enter the number of points, story points, okay, here. For example, like you require around 50 hours to complete this particular story. 50 hours means how many? 8. For example, like per day, you calculate 8 hours. Okay. 8 5 40. 8 6 are 48. It means that 6 working days plus 2 hours in another 1 day. Okay, that way you need to calculate. For example, like one story point is equivalent to 1 day, 8 hours. Then what you should do? You should give almost like 6 to 7 story points for this particular. Each and every organization will have a different way of calculating, but based on the number of story points you have completed in a sprint, that way your work will be measured. Your work will be measured. It depends on the story points exactly. For example, like you treat 1 hour as a one story point. Now, how many story points you need to give it for this exactly? Like I told you, 50. Now, 50 story points can be given for this. Yeah. Okay, comments can be added. Okay, and also you can add the story points. And once it is finished, what you'll try to do? You'll change it to done. You will change it to done. This way, you need to manage it. See, mostly once you are assigned with a user story, you can go to that, read the entire summary and description of that particular story. And do you have the entire information to start that particular project or not? Check it out. If it is available, then go to comments. No, if everything is available, then go to change the status from to do to in progress and then start your work. For example, like if you don't have enough information, what you can do? You can put a comment there and ask the respective team members to share all the required information. And then you can reach out to them personally also. Okay, please share all these details and then you can start your work. Once it is finished, I'll change it to done. What is the expectation? You need to deploy it to dev and QA. Okay, once it is deployed to dev and QA, then only you can make it as work done. See your work, right? I'll go to transaction system API here. Now, initially, I started the work and changed to in progress, right? Design, API, specification, completed. Once the API specification is completed, you can do that. Now, maybe like every 1 day, you're trying to update that exactly. Okay, at that point of time. After designing, implementation completed. Okay, unit testing completed. Okay, deployed to dev environment. and it took some time and deploy it to QA environment. Now, what you can do, change it to done. Okay, now it is done. Now, if they go to board drive, you can see it is in completed status. Okay, that way you need to change the details exactly. Most probably you will be given a story. You will go here and you can check your story and then see assign to me now. It's not there because you completed that particular task, right? Okay. Nothing is there. If you go to recent section, I can see that. If I wanted to go to this API related details, and you can see it here. For example, one more is there. Now you are not able to complete process API, for example. Okay, process API also is assigned to go here and we'll try to assign to us. Okay, now if I go here, I can see in the assign to me section, it is available for me, and I'm not able to complete this in this particular sprint. Okay, now I told because of some information is not available. Okay, I am not able to complete this. Now I wanted to move it to sprint 2. How I can do? Okay, we'll see. We'll create a sprint 2 because we don't have sprint 2, right? That's why we are not getting the issue. I'll go to the project. Okay, create sprint. Okay, TM sprint 2, and then I'll try to edit this, and then 6th, 7th, 8th start date, right? What is the start date? Just select. When is first one getting completed? Sprint 1, 5th August. Okay, I'll see the 5th August it is getting completed. I will start the print from 6th. Okay, and 2 weeks exactly. Now sprint 2 is also available. For example, like 5th August is arrived and we are not able to complete that process API. And we have the proper reasons. Now I need to move that to sprint 2, right? Exactly. What we'll try to do, I'll go to sprint 1. So this is completed. Move to C, sprint 2. Yes, no problem. I know that. Now it is moved to sprint 2. From sprint 2, I want to complete this 2 experience APIs because experience APIs are very small, right? So I will try to move the sprint 2. Okay, see here. Now, if I go to board, what is the current sprint actually? Sprint 1 only. That's why I am able to see sprint 1 exactly. Okay, to do nothing there, in progress nothing, and in done status I have finished transaction system API and transaction process API. We moved it to sprint 2 exactly. Okay, this way we need to complete this. Once the sprint is completed, I should click on this complete sprint. For example, a complete sprint, then the active one will come here exactly. Okay, this way Jira project management tool will be very, very helpful, and most of the organizations will try to utilize Jira project management tool for implementing Agile methodology and through Scrum.